Hello, and welcome to Man vs. Violin, week 22, day 154. So this is my 154th consecutive day of violin playing. That comes out to a little over 5 months of playing the violin every day. In the last episode, I had a bit of a chest cold. I'm feeling a lot better now, but even though I was sick and coughing up germs all over my violin, I still practiced every day. Why? Because that's what Paganini would do. What have I been practicing? I've been practicing Etude from Suzuki Book 1. And I've been practicing Etude for quite a while. Etude is a challenging piece for me because I find that when I play it, my finger is bumping up against the adjacent string. So when I transition to that string, I'm getting a horrible buzzing noise, which in combination with my horrible playing makes it doubly horrible. This is especially noticeable with Etude because there's several parts where it transitions between the A string and the D string and back and forth between A and D. So you have to be very accurate with your fingering of those strings. Some people sent in comments and suggestions about how I can improve this, and thank you. Thank you all for your input. I have taken those considerations to heart, and I've made some changes to how I hold the violin. I'm starting to be more aware of trying to hold the violin so that I touch the string with my fingertip rather than the pad of my finger. So that involves bringing my hand up a bit. And I've also tried to be aware of the angle of my bow so that I'm not accidentally bowing a string that I don't want to bow. So I'm going to play a little Etude. You'll see where I'm having the problem with that because I'm still having that difficulty. After I play Etude, I'm going to show you the practice exercise that I've started to start practicing double stops. So I'm new to double stops, which is playing two strings at the same time. I found a really cool way to practice them, and I'll show you that. But before I do, we have to slog through a bad rendition of Etude before we see the cool double stop stuff. So it's kind of like dinner where you have to eat your broccoli before you can have your dessert. So let's eat our broccoli. Etude from the Suzuki Book. So that's about as good as I can play it at this time. But you can hear where it's still very scratchy, where I'm transitioning between the A and the D strings. And you might also notice, if you've played this particular piece, if you've played Etude from Suzuki Book 1, you'll notice that my timing was different from the way it's written in the book. In the book, it's written all in eighth notes. It's just straight eighth notes all the way through. Sometimes I like to vary the tempo of a piece that I play a little bit just to make it kind of more interesting to me. Trying to work on playing with dynamics and feeling. And that's why I kind of changed the tempo of that a little bit. So now that we've ate our broccoli, let's kind of go over some of the fun stuff. As I mentioned, I'm just now starting to work on double stops, which is playing 2 strings at the same time. And there's a video channel out there that I'd like to give a big shout out to. And that's the Fiddle channel. And the Fiddle channel is a channel done by this gentleman, Chris Haigh. And Chris Haigh is a really outstanding violin fiddle player. And he plays the kind of music that I'm interested in learning. He plays a lot of bluegrass and folk and country, that's exactly why I picked up the violin, to learn that kind of music. So Chris Haigh over at the Fiddle channel, he's got a lot of really great videos. I absolutely recommend you checking out his channel. And he does a particular video of where he reviews the violin part of Kashmir, the Led Zeppelin song Kashmir. And Kashmir, the violin, is a complete exercise in double stops. So I'm going to use Kashmir as my jumping off point to get into playing double stops. The cool thing about the double stops on Kashmir is they don't involve any real crazy fingering. The violin double stops on Kashmir all involve just an open D string, and then pretty simple fretting on the G string and then on the A string. And it sounds really cool. So if you're a Zeppelin fan and you're just starting to get into double stops like I am, it's a great way to practice that. I think that I found that people will practice things that they like to practice. So if you like something and you're interested in it, you're more inclined to practice that or to try to develop that skill. So the double stops in Led Zeppelin's Kashmir, because I'm a rock and roll guy, are the perfect opportunity to practice double stops. If you want to see how well they can be done, I recommend going again to the Fiddle channel. Chris Haigh does a great job playing them, and he does some really clever, really beautiful playing on Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. But you're not going to hear clever, beautiful playing here. You're going to hear some pretty basic double stops. But I just started this last week, and here is my double stop practicing from Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. And that's as far as I've gotten with it. But again, over at the Fiddle channel, Chris does all the entire piece. He plays out the entire piece and has the music for all the entire piece. And it sounds really great. But that's my first introduction to double stops. And I'm going to continue working on double stops and trying to learn the entire Kashmir part. And I'm also going to continue working on Etude from the Suzuki Book. And hopefully I will improve with both of those things. Thank you very much for watching this episode, and see you next time.